Hi, I'm Brett. Today we're going to talk about more ways of saving you money on your Turbo Subaru Diesel. Now you remember back in 2010 we ran a Turbo Diesel Subaru Forester in the Australian Rally Championship. It was really unusual, but it was a lot of fun because back then it was a unique car and was still relatively new to the market. Turbo Diesels had only recently come out in Europe a couple of years earlier, and we had a big goal in our place to try and come up with what we felt was one of the quickest turbo diesel rally cars in Australia and definitely around the world. The end result was we run 2 championships in that car in the SUV series, and we sold the car. And I actually do miss having fun in that car. Check out our videos on YouTube if you want to do a search on Turbo Subaru Diesel rally car. But I digress. What I want to talk about today is some of the things that we've learned as a result of that 2 years of hard work developing that rally car. And sitting beside me here is a Subaru Outback Turbo Diesel. Effectively, since 2008 up until now, 2018, the engine really hasn't changed that much. There's been a few small changes along the way, but effectively, overall, it's very much the same. And this engine is very, very similar to the engine that was in my Turbo Diesel rally car, other than the fact that my rally car was pretty modified. So what we're going to talk about now is some of the things that you need to be aware of if you own this car, and what you need to look for to try and save yourself money so you don't end up with this horrible surprise of faulty diesel particulate filter and faulty boost control hoses and stuff like that. So let's just take the cover off the engine and we'll see what's underneath the cover. So on this model car, you've got the turbo down the bottom. It's a variable vane turbo. Check out our other video where we talk about the pitfalls and things about looking after a VGT turbo. So the compressor pumps high pressure air up through this hard pipe into the top mounted intercooler, which is fed by the scoop off the bonnet, and then it goes through the intercooler, which reduces the intake charge, and then down into a flexible hose here and into the throttle body and into the inlet manifold and through the engine, and then out through the exhaust side of the turbo, and then out through this part here, which down here you see is the DPF. Now you can see the DPF has got different fittings on it to measure the way it works, and here is some of the things that we need to talk about. But let's just show you what it looks like on the bench first. And this is the top mount intercooler. That's the flexible coupling, which is sometimes a bit of a problem, so make sure you check that. But underneath the intercooler you see this hose. Now this hose is a factory standard hose. It's a reinforced rubber hose, but they are very well known to fail and split because this is the connection to the throttle body that I showed you. And if they fail and split, you may not notice the difference in the performance of your car, but what does happen is it loses boost, but the engine doesn't know it's lost boost because the air is measured at the airflow meter on the intake side of the airbox, which I'll show you in a minute. And then the engine ECU continues to pump normal amounts of fuel into the engine and it runs ridiculously rich. The downside is all that unburned fuel then collects in the DPF because that's what it's designed to do, diesel particulate filter. Remembering this is the part down here that collects all the dirty air coming out of the exhaust, and then over a period of time it goes through a engine ECU controlled passive regen. Now you've got to be out on the highway, certain speeds, certain driving conditions for it to get into that mode, but if it's got a mechanical fault, it makes it a lot harder for the engine ECU to try and clean the DPF, and after a period of time what happens, gets to a point where it becomes clogged and blocked and the light comes on a dash and starts flashing, and that means you need to then go to a Subaru specialist to get it diagnosed and fixed. You can avoid all those things by making sure you check those things first that we've spoken about, but this car is a very good example. This client owns this car and lives about 3 or 4 hours away. Couldn't get it fixed to his satisfaction in the city that he lived in, drove it to us. Some of these parts had already been diagnosed as fixed, but he still had a faulty DPF. He's been told by another workshop that DPF needed to be replaced. We have now managed to save that DPF, which is anywhere between, depending on the brand, aftermarket or genuine, 2,000 to 6,000 Aussie dollars, by chemically cleaning the inside of the DPF and making sure mechanically the car is operating correctly. Now I'm not going to go into the details of how we chemically clean it. There's plenty of other videos on our YouTube channel you can read about it, but I wanted you to understand the process of how this works and what can often cause the problem that you may be looking to fix, and then some of the ways that you can save yourself money. So make sure you check your compressor hoses, your hose between the intercooler and the throttle body. Number one, you can do it by just putting your hand down there and feeling it with your hand. It's pliable and soft and squishy when it's got no pressure in it, and you'll feel if it's got any splits or tears. And it is a relatively straight, easy part to replace and diagnose. And then from there, you may need to contact someone like ourselves. We do also sell some software that allows you to do your own diagnostic scans and allows you to reset oil dilution, and also allows you to do forced regen. So if you own a car like this and you want to keep it and you drive it in the city and you don't get into an environment where you need to allow it to do its own passive regens, and you know the car needs to clean itself, you can command that through the software that we supply with the cable, and it works on a laptop, so you can effectively do a forced regen in your own driveway at home to save yourself the long-term costs of damaging your DPF and then having to go to a workshop to pay someone to do it for you. So check out our other videos. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and of course share the video around. We'd love to hear some comments back from you. Check out our other information on our website. We offer this technical support around Australia where there are other partner workshops, so you can contact them local in your area. But for today, my name is Brett Middleton. I do hope this video has helped you. Bye for now.